just humbled, and it's a privilege for me to be here as well. And looking at the theme for today about motivation and being stuck, there is so many different topics that I speak on and that I can pull from. And I thought rather than focus on just one, I'm going to go through a few areas that I think are very important in the motivation in our life, because there is people, and I ask questions. I'll begin with asking some questions. Are you suffering from stagnation, from procrastination, from waiting to be perfect? I always say done is better than perfect. Are you actually motivated about the work you do? Are you passionate about what you do? I mean, already somebody mentioned, like Simon Sinek says, find your why, which is so important. But are you really stuck? Or are you actually full of hope? And maybe in the last few years, it's become out that a lot of people are living in quiet desperation. And, even just listening to some people is giving them hope. But Napoleon, not Napoleon Hill, Napoleon, the Frenchman, the little guy, many hundreds of years ago, he already said, leaders are sellers of hope. So, and the people who've gone before me today, it's already nighttime for me in South Africa, they have really sold hope today. And that also shows in the passion they brought, that because they are hopeful, because you can't give what you haven't got. And this is something that for many of us is a reason why we're stuck. And I'm going to lead into that a little bit more. But, my friend and mentor, John Maxwell, also says, where there is hope in the future, there is power in the present. And we so desperately need that power. We so desperately need to be those sellers of hope, because the world is suffering more than ever before. And if we weren't fully aware of it, that the last few years should have shown us, and I dare say it's at the moment is not getting better. So people like you, people like who want to help people, whether it's through coaching, through any other form of inspiration that they can give to others, are needed more than ever. Because I don't buy newspapers, haven't bought any for 35 years by choice. I buy inspirational books and those kind of things. I have no television. Do I know what's going on? Of course, but I only need to look at some of the headlines, and I already think, how can people who are already desperate throw this on top of it as well? And then, how can they get through the day? But let me ask a question. We're all climbing ladders in life, and it's not just one ladder. There is a variety of ladders. But have you ever climbed one of these ladders and you're about 3/4 of the way up, and you look down and say, this ladder is against the wrong building? But what do most people do? They keep climbing that ladder because they feel they're so far up that ladder now they can't go back and start again. There is stories, so many stories of people who started later in life and changed their lives around because it was worth it. And you matter, and all lives matter. But we all have hopes. Les Brown, another friend and mentor of mine, he always talks about that, the richest place in the world are not the oil fields in the Middle East, the diamond mines here in South Africa, or even the stock exchanges all around the world. No, the richest place is the graveyard. And that's because many people live in quiet desperation and hung on with all their life to those ladders they're climbing, because they need to get to the top, whatever that looks like. And they know it's already wrong, but they keep climbing if they can. And some people climb over the top of them to get near the top. But we should, whenever we realize that, we have to make choices. And as was said before, I love that book by Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning, that there's one thing they can never take away from us, His story is amazing, but it says the power to choose your own attitude. So when you finally realize that, and it's only because of awareness, they say power gives choices. It's not power that brings you choices, it's the power acted upon. It's actually awareness. Awareness gives you greater choices. Now, when you become aware that you're on the wrong ladder, there's some things you can do. You can keep suffering and keep having, at best, an average life, and that's not how any of us are meant to live. We should be motivated enough. People say they call it motivational speakers normally, but it's actually inspirational people and speakers. And people say, how can you change people? I said, well, I start laughing then, because I said, listen, I've got enough problems to change this person every day. So don't ever start to me about other people. But through what I've already listened to here today, I hope you are inspired, because with giving hope to other people, we can inspire others to motivate themselves, because they might hear something that aha moment, that light that might not come from me. It might come from one of the other speakers, or maybe not even this week, but it will come when you actually are open to it, and that will change you, and that will motivate you to go and do something different, to go and do something that you always wanted to do, because we've all got that little voice in our heads. And if you say, oh no, you haven't, yes I have, that's that little voice. We all have them, and you can listen to it, or you can smut that positive voice away from your shoulder and just live the rest of your life. And you know what? That's all we can do. Ladies and gentlemen, there is so much more that we can do, so much more that we must do. If it's not for ourselves, it's for others, because we need to get off that ladder like a fireman. You know, they don't go one rung at a time. They go straight down, and then be brave enough, because it takes courage to actually start over again. And I mean, Colonel Saunders started at 64, and there are so many stories of people who started later in life and made a huge difference, not only for themselves but in life. You can be that person, and you are that person if you take that choice. But the reason most of us are stuck, because we're not happy in what we're doing. We're dissatisfied. We live in that desperational stage. Then we don't even want to talk to others about it. I like what was said about Brené Brown as well, about becoming vulnerable. Show that you're open to it. And I was a co-author of a book, Relationships by Men for Men, where I actually did exactly that. I became vulnerable about the disasters that happened in my life. And we all have stories, but it really helped me to find out how to connect better, because we need to stop connecting just at the head level with people. We need to connect more at the heart level, because we deserve it, but the people around us deserve it too. And I talk about self-care, and I started this 4 years ago, strangely enough, because there was so much disaster, and I don't even want to talk about it. I speak my truth, and that doesn't always excite people, but I speak about these kind of things. But I saw that there was all kinds of disaster happen, the deaths and where the diseases were spreading, and all those kind of stuff, lockdowns, everything. But there was really, you were hard pushed to find something to talk about how we can look after ourselves, because the only way that you can guarantee that your tomorrow will be better is if you do something to improve your life today, whatever part that is. And it's small steps. It's not going to the gym all of a sudden. When I talk about self-care and stand 2 hours on the treadmill, and then you're so sore, you within the first couple of weeks you won't go back. No, it is small different things. And it's not just about eating, sleeping, and exercising. Yes, those are some of the things that we need to take care of. But it's about me time. It's about your attitude. It's about mindfulness, the power of the human touch, forgiveness, restraint, so many things. But self care isn't selfish. Becoming healthier happens by choice, not by chance. And that talks really into your personal development as well. If you are stuck at the moment, that you really can't see a way out, and I understand it gets very difficult when the deeper down you go, and that's why you quite often need help from a person, maybe somebody just who will listen to you. That might make the difference. It says the power of listening is quite often underestimated, and you listening to somebody else, present and intently listening, as coaches know, um, then you might just save a life, and sometimes it might even be your own. But as I said, my friend, the mentor Les Brown, he always says, when you fall down, make sure you fall on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. And then he also talked about actually Muhammad Ali. But he said when Muhammad Ali was asked, why do you always get up so quickly when you get knocked down? I mean, you can wait for the count of 10 and just get up at the count number 9 to get a rest. He says the canvas is no place for a champion. And lying down is not a place. Staying down is what it is. You can fall down, but you can get up. And sometimes you need help to get up, and sometimes you need to help others to get up. See, we need to look around us and start reaching out to people. I mean, I'm talking about values. In fact, I had an executive coaching client, and talking about inspiration. We just actually talked about the value of inspiration with him, and it's a process that we go through. But we need to be able to inspire others by the lives we live and the way we talk, and as JB said at the beginning, the walks we all need to walk, because that also, it's one of the values. We need to get back to basic human values, where we need to take a step back, because there's all kinds of things I don't even want to talk about at the moment, because it makes me angry and sad at the same time. There's things happening to our young people at the moment, and we need to go back in our youth. Les Brown again said many years ago already, leadership is failing because of a lack of values. So that means is that, and these are basic human values, like I mentioned, hope, respect, honesty, integrity, forgiveness, restraint. All these kind of basic human values that we all should really know about. So we need to take a step back, because values are the foundation for life, for business, and for your leadership development. And without them, we see what's happening around the world at the moment. And in that whole values-based process, we went with John Maxwell to a country which is a story all by itself, to help start transformation of the country of Guatemala. And that's when I first came across it. And on the way home, I quit my life in the oil industry. But it says, transformation begins with me. That's a slogan, and that's what we really need to internalize. When we are stuck, when we need to get motivated, motivation comes from inside. So let's start transforming ourselves. Let's start building ourselves one step at a time, one day at a time. And we will get there. We've heard of the story, be the change you want to see in the world. Well, what does that mean? That means we need to start that change with the person who looks in a mirror every day. And that's where it starts. And there is so much more I can talk about, but I know my time is out at the moment. And I just want to leave with a quote of a guy you might just have heard about. It's called John Roberts. But he says, I believe in a world where people are inspired to use their voice and lead, rather than suffer in silence and follow. Ladies and gentlemen, it is about time that we say no to others, in the most positive way, and say yes to ourselves. Say yes to you, because make you a priority and start your transformative journey today. You worth it, you deserve it, and by doing so, you will help more people than you'll ever know at this moment. Thank you.